I feel like we always get to this question, like which Mario game is the best, and there's just so many Mario games, especially when we go to 3D, because you still got 3D World, 3D Land, Galaxy, and all that stuff. I'm not counting all those, okay? We're looking at the 3 open world Mario games, because we gotta look at what these games had to offer. With 3 open world Super Mario games under our belt, which one was the best? Which one gave us the best experience and the most well-rounded gameplay? Well, we have to go into each individual game and explore and see what we can find. Super Mario 64. It's what started the 3D platforming for Mario. It wasn't anything crazy, but what made it crazy was the simple fact that Mario was in a giant 3D explorable area, and this was something different at the time where this is just something of a dream for Mario fans. So pretty much in this game, you go around the castle jumping in paintings and taking you to multiple different levels that are kind of inspired throughout the Mushroom Kingdom based on different biomes such as snow levels and even water levels. You go through these levels collecting stars, which also in turn power yourself to open different doors throughout the castle to finally reach the last painting, which holds Bowser and obviously Princess Peach. But to be real with you, people love this game for one thing and one thing only: dropping the baby penguin off the ledge. You guys are terrible. Well, first off, let's talk about gameplay and worlds, because there's a lot of worlds in this game. I mean, Mario jumps through a total of probably over 15 different paintings that takes him to regions that are all incredibly different from one another. One's in lava, one's in the desert, one's in this icy tundra, sliding down a slide, racing a big old penguin. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of things to do in Mario 64, and there's a lot of places to explore, and none of them ever really feel dull. Well, I'm not going to say none of them, because God, I cannot stand that underground maze. But if we have to talk about the way Mario controls, oh goodness, he controls like a monkey on skates. This dude is always squirting around and moving and just shifting his feet into some weird direction and making the player almost nearly impossible able to control him. I mean, sometimes you're just completely falling off mountains, you're sliding one way, you're flipping the other way. Mario has weird feet in this game, that's all I'm gonna say. The replay value, however, is amazing because you can actually go back and play each of the missions. Yes, each world is separated into about 6 to 7 missions, and you have to go collect that specific star. And you can collect any other star if that path is open for you, but it makes it fun to go back and replay these missions, giving the game lots of replayability. So you can go all the way back up the mountain and Tall Mountain if you're a psychopath and get that star that's underneath the waterfall. So, I mean, it's up to you. The environments in this game are incredibly rich and teeming full of unique enemies, and like I said with the environments, you can go under caves in some worlds, you can even shift the size of the island, which continues to make the gameplay incredibly fun for specific game worlds. And there's also no real power-ups for Mario. He keeps his same moveset throughout the game. If you count the metal cap and the wing cap, well, the wing cap never counts in my book because it's like a plane with one wing.
Where's his right wing? He's just lost his wing.
Mario Sunshine, my favorite Mario game and probably one of my favorite Nintendo games of all time. If you guys know this from my channel, I say it almost every video. I love Mario Sunshine, but I gotta look at this in a realistic approach for this video. And even though Mario has a robotic water hose on his back, I gotta look at what the potential of this game is and how it compares to the other two. In this game, Mario, Peach, and friends go to a new island, but Luigi's left out because they hate him. They really hate him. Mario must go around this dolphin-shaped island named Isle Delfino and find this culprit that is pretty much portraying to be Mario and graffitiing everything around the town. And he also ends up taking Peach, and Mario's gotta find Peach, and then he fights Bowser in a bathtub because Mario games.
You ever give up?
Mario! How dare you disturb my family vacation?
But really though, there aren't a ton of places compared to Mario 64. There's some good places, don't get me wrong, but there's just not, you know, the amount of levels that Mario 64 had. I mean, there was like 15 paintings, like I said, and you probably only go to about 8 different island spots, which is fine because they're all spread out with many things to do, and they kind of are different. There's a lot of beaches in this game. That might be a drawback. Oh yeah, and then you have those weird boneless Mario sections where you realize Flood is not just your companion, but he's like your lifesaver. And I guess that would be our segue into the control category because, dude, Mario controls terribly. He can't even go to the left. And to me, that's a big problem with these two Mario games, is that Mario just does not control the best. You know, he doesn't feel like the player has all control. Sometimes when you die, it feels like it's just because Mario has ice shoes on. Although, I just love Sunshine because it makes a brand new story with a brand new location, and it also has a brand new mechanic to Mario's moveset, which I know Mario 64 wasn't going to add anything new. It was the first 3D Mario game, really, but, you know, I like Flood a little bit. It's kind of fun painting walls. I know I sound so old, but painting walls is kind of fun in this game. Please sue me. And once again, the missions have that replay value, which is a lot of fun because everybody wants to replay the mission where you brush the eel's teeth underwater, or when Mario pulls up on Bowser in a whole wooden lava boat. Super Mario Odyssey is the third and recent installment in the open world 3D Mario games, and it is a blast, let me tell you. For a brand new open world 3D Mario, it does a lot right, but it still doesn't do everything right. The story you could never guess in your wildest dreams. Bowser took Peach, but this time he wants to marry her, and Mario must go around the globe to all these different kingdoms in order to fight off Bowser and get Peach back. Which, in this game, he makes a companion named Cappy, which is this ghost figure that can work as Mario's hat, and also a possessor ghost, where he captures different enemies and turns Mario into them. And capturing things is a absolute blast. If you want to turn into the letter R, you can do that. If you want to turn into an A, you can do that. And that right there is what makes Mario Odyssey so much fun, is just the fact that you can capture enemies and even objects in order to affect the gameplay. And there's a lot of different areas on this globe to go to, but that's where we start to run into problems. With these lots of areas, it starts to get really quick, and the gameplay starts to diminish into something that's not exactly what we thought it was going to be. The game can be incredibly quick, and like I said, there's no replay value for this game, unlike Sunshine and 64, where you can pretty much go back and replay missions. Well, there's no missions, you just gather all these moons whenever you want, and once you gather them, yes, they're transparent, but they don't give you the same effect as going back and getting that hard mission star in Super Mario 64. Now, I also found out a lot of the time the worlds are kind of bare. I mean, I know Breath of the Wild has some bare areas and people complain about that, but it still felt fun because you were on a grand adventure getting supplies and getting items and finding new things. But in Mario, it's just bare for no reason. There's just absolutely nothing there. There's maybe some coins in these areas, but besides that, there's nothing to do. Now, talking about controls, this game controls like a dream. It completely blows the other two games out of the water. If you die, most of the time it feels like it's your fault. You made a mistake. It's not because Mario has ice shoes on. Because you can actually take Mario's shoes off in this game. Yes, he also has costumes, and I know most of you guys only purchase this game because you can see Mario's wet, soggy body and his nipples sticking out. And not only are the captures great, but the moveset is amazing thanks to Cappy because it allows Mario to do things that he really couldn't do before and get out of sticky situations a lot easier, and this makes the game a lot more fun because it feels like the better version of Flood. Mario Odyssey is an amazingly fun game with many worlds and enemies to explore and capture, and it keeps the intensity alive, but not for a long time, and that's the only problem that I have to go with here, is the duration of the game just doesn't satisfy the player enough. And I know your eye slipped at that booty, don't even lie. Now, it's hard to say who did it the best because they all had their special moments and they all had their downfalls. Mario 64 has amazing level design and tons of levels, but the gameplay and the controls is very shaky and it's hard to get used to. Super Mario Sunshine has a brand new world and Flood to add to its mechanics, but once again, the controls are a little iffy when you play as boneless Mario and the game's kind of short. But then Super Mario Odyssey comes in with amazing capture mechanics, new worlds, and some absolutely stunning scenes like the New Donk City Parade in the very end of the game. I'm not going to spoil, but Mario Odyssey overall is a very short game with little to no replay value. Well, I guess the only way to find out which game is the best is to see which game would actually receive a sequel as in today's standards. A Super Mario 64 2 was actually planned and was even going to have multiplayer, I guess, with Luigi, but I can't see a sequel to Mario 64. It doesn't really seem like anything that would come into fruition because the game is incredibly basic when it comes to a moveset in today's standards. Even though Mario Sunshine is my personal favorite game in the franchise, I don't think people want to see a sequel of this game. I think an HD remake of the original would be best, but I'm pretty sure people don't want to spray walls but twice. Mario Odyssey just makes sense. There's so much potential. Mario's going around the globe and there's so many areas that they could cover from past regions like the Bean Bean Kingdom and even Isle Delfino. Please put it in the game. And there's just different places that Mario can go. And on top of that, the capture mechanic is one of a kind. And it's something that can be replicated multiple times because it's such a unique idea. There's so many enemies in the Mario universe to capture and there's so many objects that Mario can turn into. The possibilities are endless. So I really am hoping for a Mario Odyssey sequel, as I think at the moment Mario Odyssey does win the title as best game in the open world 3D Mario franchise. But if you guys have a different opinion, let me know in the comments down below. For my Mario Sunshine fans out there, trust me, Mario Sunshine is still my personal favorite game that I have nostalgia for, and I always will. But let me know in the comments down below how you feel. If you enjoyed today's video, please leave a like and subscribe if you guys are new. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya, guys.